Do you like salt? Food would be quite bland without it. However, too much salt is overwhelming and too little is underwhelming. We prefer it to be just right. Let's look at what the Bible has to say. Christ asked that the church in Colossae express their words to unbelievers as seasoned with salt. Let's take a look at the people, the church, its location of Colossae, and unpack what the text says, and then what it says to us for today. Colossae was a vital center of Christianity in the New Testament. It appears that Epaphras, one of Paul's traveling companions, founded the church of Colossae on behalf of Paul sometime during Paul's second and third missionary journey. Epaphras was from Colossae, and after traveling to Ephesus and hearing Paul, he responded and returned here to share the gospel. After its beginning, Paul, likely while in prison in Rome, sent 2 letters to Colossae, one to the church and one to one of its members named Philemon. It seems that dangerous teaching was presenting itself to the church at Colossae. It was a teaching that lessened the authority of the role of Jesus. Paul wrote against these, encouraging believers in growth and maturity in their faith. In his letter, and after greeting the church, Paul focused on thanksgiving and prayer, followed by teaching about Christ's preeminence. He then spoke of his ministry, followed by practical teaching for the church and their continued growth. Paul wrote, "Live wisely among those who are not believers and make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation be gracious and seasoned with salt, so that you will have the right response for everyone." Seasoned with salt. What does that mean? Like we said, salt makes bland food savory and agreeable to the palate. Salt preserves flesh. Paul is suggesting that we think before we speak, that our words, whether written or spoken, have an effect on the unbeliever. Gracious and salted speech is spoken in love. It is acceptable to God and to man. Are your words seasoned with salt? In the same verse, Paul spoke about walking in wisdom and to make the best use of our time. What did he mean? And does it have implications for us today? The answer is yes, and Paul lays out steps about using wisdom and making the best use of time a few verses earlier in Colossians chapter 3. He wrote, "Since God chose you to be the holy people He loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowances for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony. And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. Let the message about Christ in all its richness fill your lives. Teach and counsel each other with all the wisdom He gives. Sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to God with thankful hearts. And whatever you do or say, do it as a representative of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks through Him to God the Father." As believers, we are mandated to make disciples. Paul spoke to those in Colossae about bearing fruit and increasing with the gospel of Jesus Christ. The New Testament church continues today. As believers, we are to continue in our calling to bear fruit, to be witnesses, and to make disciples as called by Jesus, and to walk in a manner worthy of the Lord, as stated by Paul in Colossians 1, and to make His word fully known.